Hi Sagittarius, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of September. The month of August was very unpredictable and disruptive, both on the world stage and in our own lives. A lot of unexpected events and news. And Jupiter, which is the grand benefic and the ruler of your sign, re-entered the fixed air sign of Aquarius on July 28th, and it will be there until December 29th. And for you, Aquarius rules your third house of thoughts and ideas and communication, as well as local environment and local community. And it's an excellent opportunity to expand through learning and through innovation, and maybe you're taking more classes, maybe you're marketing yourself, if you have your own business, getting more involved in your local community. But it's also hopefully, bringing you, not bringing you to task, but inviting you to keep your thoughts optimistic in a very difficult time and to structure through doing so, because you are ruled by Jupiter, the grand benefic, which is the luckiest planet of the zodiac. And part of your gift and blessing is that you generally can keep very optimistic in difficult times, but these are unusually difficult times. So finding new ways to employ that gift that you were born with. And then the Sun, Venus, and Mercury were all transiting in Leo. And they were squaring Uranus in Taurus, and that can be disruptive and chaotic and challenging, and it was, and that brought unexpected news. And then Uranus, which is the planet of brilliance and innovation and surprise and unexpected news and disruptiveness, station retrograde on August 19th at 14 degrees and 47 minutes of the fixed earth sign of Taurus. And you felt that 5 days before and 5 days after. And that took place in your house of work and habits and daily routine, as well as the workplace and your environment at work. And that could have brought changes at the workplace. It could have brought unexpected endings and major beginnings, big rapid change in a very fast manner, often unexpected. That's very Aquarian and Uranian. So that really emphasized the Uranian chaos. And then we had a second full moon in Aquarius that occurred on August 22nd, and that really emphasized even further all of the disruptiveness of this Aquarian energy. It is very brilliant, and it is a technological revolution that we're all involved in until Saturn leaves Aquarius on March 7th of 2023. So trying to really embrace technology, not become isolated, definitely keep community and keep engaged, but keep learning, which you love to do anyway. So as we begin the month of September, the Sun and Mars are both transiting in the mutable earth sign of Pisces in your house of career and life goals. Mars takes approximately 2 years to transit, and transiting in your house of life direction and public image and career is an excellent opportunity for upgrading your professional status and embarking on new professional opportunities. And it's a really good career cycle. And the sun shines wherever it's transiting. So it's transiting in your house of public reputation. Mercury, which is the planet of communication, and Venus, which is the planet of relationships and how you earn income, are both transiting in your house of friends and groups and community. It's also the house of wishes. And this is a good opportunity for networking. If you have your own business, this is excellent for promoting yourself with social media, because the 11th house is the Aquarian house in astrology, and that is the house of social media and technology, as well as friends and groups. Mercury is going to retrograde in this sector of your chart later in the month, and it retrogrades at 25 degrees of Libra. It stations direct on October 18th at 10 degrees of Libra, and it leaves the sign of Libra altogether on November 6th. So this is an opportune time for reconnecting with other people. Maybe you're reconnecting with old friends or groups that you've been connected with in the past. Maybe you're revising your professional social media and reaching out to old contacts or people you've interviewed with the past, maybe people you've worked with in the past. But it's definitely a time of reconnection, learning how you can up level your technology to another degree altogether. And again, probably very likely old friends will resurface and old connections from the past. So that's always it can be fun, hopefully. So on September 2nd, Mars opposes Neptune at 1:43 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can feel confusing around home or professionally. Maybe there's a little bit of a misunderstanding. Maybe you're feeling drained and tired, so that's a day to lay low if you're able and recharge. On September 4th, Mercury, which is the planet of communication and is transiting in your house of friends and groups, forms a beautiful trine to Saturn, which is transiting in Aquarius. And this is excellent for constructive communication, excellent for you for making contacts professionally, socially, meeting new people, learning, all of the above. Excellent for commitment in business especially. And this takes place at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that is very positive, grounded communication. On September 5th, there's more challenging and combative energy. Venus, which is the planet of love and relationships, and it's transiting in its dignity because it loves being in the sign of Libra. It squares Pluto at 11:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that could be more challenging around perhaps around financial situations for you, or definitely could be issues with friends, or there could be breakups of that energy, or just power struggles. So it's good for purging things or people that no longer serve you, but also just kind of laying low and just focusing on how you can empower yourself in a healthy way. On the 6th of September, we have some really good aspects, and it's the day of a new moon, so really channel that positive energy, manifest, do the law of abundance, set intentions, write them down. So at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mars, which is transiting in your house of career, forms a beautiful trine to Uranus, and this is very innovative energy and very inventive energy. And for you, it could be good for unexpected professional and work opportunities. Very good. And then at 9:05 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Venus and Jupiter form a beautiful trine, and those are the two benefics, the two luckiest planets of the zodiac. And this is good for networking, socially, romantically, professionally, and just a really positive, upbeat energy. And then the new moon occurs at 8:52 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 14 degrees and 28 minutes of the mutable earth sign of Virgo. And this new moon occurs in your house of work and career and life goals. So really focusing on what you want to achieve. You've got Mars there a little while longer, and there's the annual new moon regarding your professional life and what you're life goals are in general. And they're phenomenal aspects all day, really helping you to achieve what your goals are. And right after the new moon, the sun forms a beautiful trine to Uranus, and that occurs at 9:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that's very inventive, innovative energy regarding work situations. So whatever your life goals, but particularly professionally, that's an excellent day. Set intentions, because anything that occurs in an angular house packs more of a punch. And the 10th house is one of the most significant houses of the chart. In my opinion, it might be the most, as significant as the first. And then let's see, on September 7th, Mercury forms an opposition to Chiron, the wounded healer, and that occurs at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and on September 8th at 2:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that enables you to face the wounds around friends or regarding perhaps things that are keeping you from what you love. We're all, again, in a very difficult time. There's been a lot of loss, and just whatever healing work you need to do, it helps you to face those wounds. And I think that that's a good energy right after the very positive and optimistic new moon. And then on the 10th of September, Venus changes signs and enters the fixed water sign of Scorpio at 4:39 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it will be there until October 7th. And it's transiting in your house of dreams and imagination and the subconscious mind. And Venus is technically in its detriment in Scorpio because it rules the opposite sign of Taurus. It's very seductive and intense and passionate in Scorpio. But for you, it is exalted while it's transiting in the house of dreams and imagination. It can be very creative, very altruistic, and I think it's also really good for focusing on how you can heal yourself so you can believe your dreams to be possible, and just indulge yourself creatively, and really whatever that is, writing, music, however that is for you, doing more spiritual practice, meditation, manifesting work, etc. And then on the 14th of September, the sun opposes Neptune at 5:21 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can bring a haze that can be confusing professionally, or just feeling, or maybe you're dealing with family members that are going through a tough time, or maybe you're bringing a tough time to you, in some way. And then later that day at 8:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mars changes signs and enters the cardinal air sign of Libra, where it will be until October 30th. And it's transiting in your house of friends and groups. Now, again, this is emphasizing a lot of focus for you the next couple of months, really through the beginning of November, on your friends and your groups. Mercury's retrograding there. It's going to be in this house until November 6th. Mars is in this house until October 30th. So focusing on networking, marketing yourself, whether or not you're looking for a job or making connections. Again, in this world we're in the new age of Aquarius, make connections, but also probably a lot of friends from the past resurfacing. Maybe you're making new connections and new friends, hopefully, as well. And so that's a big deal, and that's where Mars is going to be. And then on September 16th, the sun forms a beautiful trine to Pluto at 9:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that's a very up-leveling energy and good for getting things done and getting things accomplished, and for focusing on your professional endeavors. And then later at 11:15 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and on September 17th at 2:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Venus squares Saturn, and that could bring challenges and restrictions in your thinking on what's working and what's not, and facing the reality, as we all have to face, of this. So it's not a bad thing. And then on September 20th, there is a full moon that day, very emotional day. The moon meets up with Neptune in Pisces at 7:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that is in your house of home and family and emotional foundation. And then on that day, Mercury forms a beautiful trine to Jupiter, and this occurs at 6:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that brings optimism because this will be a very emotional full moon. And you know, the moon in Pisces is very intuitive and sensitive, but this one in particular is going to be a heavy one. And so luckily we've got Mercury forming a good aspect to Jupiter, helping to give us some optimism in all of this. And then the full moon occurs at 7:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 28 degrees and 14 minutes of the mutable water sign of Pisces. And this full moon occurs in your house of home and family and emotional foundation. A full moon is a time of completion and fruition, so hopefully it's bringing something to completion that you've been working on. But this full moon is on the royal, well, not, it's a fixed star known as Shiat, and that is a fixed star associated with loss and sorrow and hardship. So knowing that a lot of us will feel lost with this full moon, hopefully we can tap into the energy of Mercury, which rules our thinking, forming a good aspect to Jupiter, which is in a sense the higher octave of Mercury, helping us to tap into thinking in a much broader scale, you know, and you know, getting through this tough time. It is hard. On the following day, on September 23rd, Venus opposes Uranus at 5:43 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and for you that could bring unexpected situations at work, or maybe they're unexpected endings, but it could be very creative for you, and there could be unexpected work opportunities most likely. And then on September 25th, Mars forms a beautiful trine to Saturn, and this occurs at 5:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that's really good for getting things accomplished for you. It could be excellent for doing all forms of networking and marketing and really promoting yourself that day, and that's where you can get something done. And again, it's concrete and solid with Saturn making a good aspect. On September 26th, Mercury stations retrograde at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 25 degrees of the cardinal air sign of Libra. It's 25 degrees and 28 minutes. And this is setting off where the Venus retrograde story was from the fall of 2018. Every 8 years, Venus retrogrades at approximately 10 degrees of Scorpio, and it stations direct at approximately 25 degrees of Libra. For you, this would have occurred initially in your house of dreams and what you want to manifest, and then when Venus stationed direct on November 17th, it did so in your house of friends and groups. Now Mercury is stationing retrograde at 25 degrees of Libra, and it stations direct at 10 degrees on October 18th in your house of community, friends, and networking, reassessing how you can catalyze the dream that you were trying to achieve in the fall of 2018, because at that time Venus and the Sun formed an inferior conjunction at approximately 3 degrees of Scorpio, and that happens every 8 years, and that's honoring what you want to create and what makes your heart happy, not losing sight of those dreams even though we're in a tough time, and reassessing how you can network in a more efficient manner, how you can be a bigger part of your community, both locally and in the bigger picture. And you're ruled by Jupiter. You think in the big vision of things generally, you know. And so that's a helpful tool. I think this Mercury retrograde is a good opportunity to do that. And then on September 29th, Venus forms a beautiful trine to Neptune at 12:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and Neptune is the higher octave of Venus and very creative and romantic, and for you this could be good for manifesting your dreams, to your needs met. And then later that day the Sun forms a beautiful trine to Saturn at 6:19 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that is a stabilizing energy. And I neglected to say that the equinox occurs on September 22nd, so that's a big deal. And that is when the Sun crosses the celestial equator, and it is approximately equal day and equal night in the well, anywhere. And in the northern hemisphere the Sun is heading south and it begins the fall season, and in the southern hemisphere the Sun is headed north and it's the beginning of the spring season. And we cast a chart and honor what the next few months, what that season holds in store. And on the day of the equinox, on that date, this Mercury, which is the planet of communication, squares Pluto at 9:12 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that can be very combative. It can represent power struggles in communication and endings and big changes. It can also uncover and bring things to light, hidden information potentially. And at the time of the equinox, it occurs at 3:21 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The Sun enters Libra, where it will be until October 22nd. And for you transiting in your house of friends and groups and networking, and again, it'll be there until October 22nd. We're focused on networking. And the equinox chart has Capricorn rising at approximately 14 degrees of Capricorn, and that brings us back to when Saturn stationed direct in September of 2018 at 13 degrees of Capricorn, kind of bringing us back to that story. And the moon itself will be in a cardinal sign. It'll be in cardinal fire at 21 degrees of Aries, which is just 1 degree off from the world point. And anything at 22 degrees of the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And last year Saturn and Pluto met up at 22 cardinal, 22 degrees of Capricorn, and that brought down the structures in our world. And now we're all rebuilding. And for you, this occurred in your house of possessions, income, and what you value. And now you're expanding and restructuring through your learning, your thinking, and how you can get involved in your community and how you can thrive as you learn and move ahead. And so this is a big deal. This equinox is showing how we're all reconciling the lessons we've been dealing with since last year, but also Pluto square Mercury, eliminating the fears that hold us back, because we have to be survivors. We have to be strong, and Pluto empowers you when you face your fears, and that's what you got to do. So I wish you a lot of luck, Sagittarius. Mercury retrograde at the end of the month, and then you know, again, it's retrograde on the 26th, the 27th, depending on where you live, and it will station direct on October 18th at 10 degrees of Libra. It will be in your house of friends and groups until November 6th. And then on the 30th of September, the final day, Venus squares Jupiter at 7:31 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that I don't think is going to be negative. I think it can be an excessive energy. But I think it's just being creative in your thinking and having some fun, hopefully. And good luck and thank you. Take care.